So what do I talk about him and him talks? I originally thought him means Himakant. I never knew that he took the first three alphabets of Himakant and made it as human, intelligence and mastery. So being human is the most important aspect even before you become master of everything. Intelligence is an inborn quality. So therefore, being human mixed with intelligence is what you master in terms of whether it is in a occupation, whether if you talk about professionalism, whether achieving whatever you perceive. I think what's important for every professional is not about what quality or skill he possesses. How much does he spend time to master the skill? So I think with using the human and the intelligent, human is already existed, intelligence already inborn, but the mastery aspect is the most important aspect of it, which one individual should build in to make sure he's much more successful in every walks of life. So for me, him and Himakant sounds the same. It's just that the three-letter word makes huge difference for any individual. Being human, have the intelligence, being the master of everything that what you do. So that's what I believe Him Talks is all about.
Namaskaram, welcome back to Him Talks. Today we are here with CA Ganesh Balakrishnan Garu. Sir, welcome to Him Talks.
Thank you, Himakant. I'm not Garus. You can call me Ganesh. So we follow the unofficial mannerism of addressing people.
Yes, sir.
So you can call me Ganesh.
Yes, sir. And probably my first question is based out of this. If you look at Indian culture, we always have the tendency to respect elders. But the moment we enter big fours, it gets the other way around. So how should some culturally adjust it?
So there are two ways one looks at it. The first way is when you are from India, right? There is certain culture one has to follow. So in India, we treat anybody who teaches you as a guru, right? So there's a question of learning from them. When you come to a big four, everyone comes up with their own capabilities. So everyone is as competent as the other person. And that's the reason why everyone is addressed with the first name. Whereas when you go to an ashram, you generally have a typical tendency of having the guru and shishya, and therefore the respect, you always expect the guru to have more knowledge than the shishya. But in today's Google world, I think that's getting reversed.
But I see that gratitude from you a lot of times, especially when you refer P.R. Ramesh, or you kind of address him as a guru, and that in a big four context.
So if I were to take Mr. Ramesh, right? See, it's a relationship which is built not over time. So when you address somebody as a guru or a mentor, it is not always related to your professional life. It is also the personal life. It's also the grooming of the individual. It's also how teaching you the ways of the life. So when you treat someone as a guru or a mentor, you're actually surrendering yourself and saying, hey, listen, you are the person who have guided me. I was just like a raw stone, raw, solid, bad stone. So you just made it into made it into a diamond. So that is the reason why it is my gratitude towards him. There where I have to express and say, hey, listen, you are my guru and you will remain my guru all through. Yeah. So it's not about working in a big four or non-big four. It's about how that individual has transformed you from something where you're nothing to something what you are today.
Yes. And in fact, this brings us to the concept of mentorship. In other countries, we kind of have this, especially for sports. And in India, it is not yet evolved completely. What's your say on this?
See, one of the key aspects of it is the trust. In a mentorship, there should be trust between the mentor and the mentee. Yes. What really happens here is that everybody wants to become a mentor because of something he has achieved in the past. Whereas achievement in the past is just an incident or an event. Yes. Whereas if I have to accept someone has to be a mentor, the first person should understand what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. He has to get complete knowledge about what am I doing, where I need to improve. And that's where the mentorship comes in. So in India, it's just evolving. I don't say it is not there, but if you see mostly in sports, because you represent a nation, you represent anything with passion. So in a sport, definitely you need somebody where you're going at a particular level, you need to go to next level. So you need a mentorship there.
Yes.
Whereas in day-to-day life, you believe you know everything. The moment I attain a status of certain level in the society, everybody believes that I've attained certain things, which is not the case. A mentorship is required at every stage in life. So a stage in life, it could be a career, it could be personal, could be dealing with relationships, dealing even with social stigma which goes around. So you need mentorship. Yes. So mentorship is essential and it's a continuous process. In the earlier olden days, you always used to have what is called as your grandmother, your grandparents, all of them, they used to mentor it. You have parents, you have grandparents, then you find the parents are not listening, you go back to grandparents, yes. The grandparents guide you. So the mentorship existed in our culture. It's just that we are giving a name called mentorship. Yes. So I would always believe it's more a love, it's more a caring that comes through it.
And that will be the same whether it's in personal life or professional life.
Absolutely. There is no two ways about it. Now, if you were to look at it, as an individual, how I'm behaving in a society, I cannot be different how I'll be behaving in a family. It has to be same. I cannot be aggressive with you in the society, or I cannot be submissive in the society, and I go the other way around. Yes. So there is no two personalities. It's just one personality. The personality, what you reflect, is your character, the manner in which you respond, the manner in which you react. So all of these matters most. Yes.
So now let's slightly face towards the camera. So you're working with the biggest of the big four, and on the other hand, you have a very strong spiritual or practical and grounded architecture. So this is a rare combination in most of the people. How are you able to balance this, and how did it come from? Where is that foundation?
So if let me put it this way, there is nothing called big or biggest.
Okay.
All right. Position changes.
Yeah.
Suppose somebody is big today, he will not be the big tomorrow.
Yes.
That is reality. If you accept that, that's wasted. The second most important thing, when you talk about, there is nothing called spiritual. It is what is called common sense. It is what is called learnings from what has happened in your life. The life is the biggest teacher, what you've learned in the past and how you're planning to put forward. Now, that's the reason I said I always go back to the upbringing that you come from. Now, in an upbringing today and what you see a couple of decades ago, used to be no television, no radios used to be there, not much of interaction, social interaction. The only person you will fall back are your relative, your parents, your relatives, your grandparents, and siblings around. Now, what happens is that you observe them.
Yes.
So life, you start learning from their observation. So you need to first observe. Once you observe, then you need to see how do I implement what I've observed. So the next part about it is that if you have known this is the manner in which you have to deal, you need to start implementing it. Once you have implemented, you should exchange this benefit to rest. So it's about not knowing something, knowing now, then whatever you have learned, give it back to the society. So this is an individual personality trait that one should imbibe always. That what I have got, I should give back to society. Yes. Today you talk about CSR.
Yeah.
You don't have to force somebody. It should come automatically to you that if the gurus who have taught you, go back to the gurus and teach them what it is. Today, if you really see me, even last week, I was addressing on team building to various professors of Usman University.
Yes.
Drawn across. The question is, it is not that I've learned more. It is just that I've been exposed more. And therefore, these learnings, I want to bring back and give them without a cost. If they need to recruit somebody who's like a trainer, professional trainer, they need to pay. But instead, if you take this as your obligation to giving back to the society, you will balance between. So there's nothing called spiritual. It is about sharing the good things with people, and the bad things you just need to just evolve it. The only thing which I always believe and we should practice is remain positive throughout.
Yes.
Never, even if you are down, remain positive in whatever the negativity you have. So you will do exceedingly well.
Yes. So now talking about the macro world, The 18th century was more about military leadership, and then we moved to the political leadership. And now most of the thought leaders say that it's all about economic leadership. In this context, if I have to draw a recent example, if you're looking to buy the latest version of iPhone, you'll have to shell out 100K in India. And in terms of your income capacity, 1 lakh is 10% of the average salary, 10 lakhs in India. We're paying 10% for the best phone. Now moving on to US, it's not just the parity of purchasing power, but it's around $1,000, and the average salary per year will be $1 lakh. So in India, you have to shell out 10% for buying the best phone. In US, you have to shell out only 1% for buying the best phone. So why is it happening?
No, this is a misnomer.
Okay.
Let me tell you one thing. The average salary in the US is somewhere around 50 to 60,000 K only. Average. Okay?
Yes.
So there is nothing called 100,000. 100,000s are only, you'll find it in the New York side, the financial side, or the oil field, that side only. Typical American will not draw more than 35, 40, or at best 60,000. That's average.
Yeah, median will be 60.
Okay. Number one. Number two, if you look at between India and the rest of the world, in India, there is what is called as if you see the income, there's a disparity in income. The rich are the richest.
Yes.
The poor are the poorest.
Yes.
So when you talk about a lakh to or something, I would say the guy will go and buy a lakh only if that person is in potential to afford it.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, we are also used to this credit card business, right? So we abuse credit cards. I mean, to be very honest with you, people don't understand how the credit card evolves because everything comes with your discounted. So if 1 lakh is not actually 1 lakh you pay, they say 3,000, X number. Now, if you were to take a phone, if I attach importance to that phone being so expensive, and if it's the benefits remains the same, because if I take a phone, I can record an event and I'm going to upload that event for a business, then it's worth buying it. But if I'm just buying a iPhone, just for the sake of a social symbol, which is typically most of them, the moment a car comes, it's a social symbol. I need to go and buy. The moment I get an iPhone, I need to go and buy. The moment I have a novel release, I need to go. The moment a movie is released of Chiranjeev, I need to go.
Yes.
So it's all about, doing what is called as worshipping something. Just don't start worshipping this.
Okay.
If you believe that whatever you're buying, and in a macroeconomics level, if what you buy is an expensive thing, it's not going to really improve the economy.
Okay.
What will improve the economy is people like where they can selling at, let's say, 100 rupees or 200 rupees or 500 rupees. And the moment you keep selling, you will have more in volume, more in product production, more people coming, more work employment getting created, if the money gets dispersed. So between a sale of an iPhone in terms of volume and compare that to sale of a Mercedes-Benz to the ones which you sell in a Maruti or something, see the difference.
Okay.
The number of people who own it are far, far larger in respect of where the values are lower. When the values are larger, the number of people
Volumes
are
yes.
very, very. So that's the reason they're saying in India, 7% of the top guys occupy 70% of the wealth in this country.
Oxfam 7, yeah.
So then you just see that income disparity.
In fact, I guess it's 1% to 60%. It's far higher.
But I'm just saying 7% because a lot of people have money which is not getting, into this, onto this one. Yes. They're called rich agriculturists, but they don't have that income which is taxable. So I'm just talking from that comparison.
So that's the reason why stats gets wrong at some point.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say if we are doing well, if our guys are going to buy a lot of iPhones, we are doing well. If you have Apple company coming into this country, I believe that there is an opportunity, equal opportunity for the employment, and there is also an equal opportunity for people to have the best of the products.
Yes.
Why should we not feel that we have the best of the products?
Yes.
Why should we always say we'll have a Nokia or something where it is like damn 20, 30 years? Say I have the best ones. So a guy from America or from an Australia comes and sits with you in an interview, and you come back and with the same iPhone. The guy says, "Wow." And in fact, in India, it's the other way around. Indians buy more phones than the Americans. That's how it is.
So now talking about this artificial intelligence, it is known as the fourth industrial revolution because we are able to implement this intelligence into a machine.
Right.
But if you look at how fast phones are evolving, and if you look at how human intellect per se is evolving, then I think we are stuck at some point. So
if you talk really about artificial intelligence, right, and this is a topic which I always see, what does it do? So you take a simple app called your Book My Show, right?
Yes.
That's a simple app
Yeah.
which runs on your mobile, or a Google Map, right? An artificial intelligence will only see a behavior. So a behavior or a pattern that it evolves. So a behavior is that I go early morning, I go and play, I go to this place, from here I come here, and it keeps on indicating to you that the next destination is home. So what it does, it just does what is called as experiment on you and say, okay, fine, this is the probability that you will go home.
yes.
All right? Now, that is what it creates. Human creates this artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
All right? Now, the question then they're saying is that our intelligence, our brain, whatever you call it, is far more has got no occupational challenges in terms of preserving the memories.
Absolutely.
Then what you have this technology. Technologies evolves, technologies gets obsolete. But what will remain is the evolvement of this human intelligence continuously. The day human intelligence stop evolving, this universe is gone.
Yes, sir.
So artificial intelligence is just a tool. Make best of use of the tool. So if you're having a big data and you're not able to dissect that data, then you need this artificial intelligence to look at that homogeneity, heterogeneity, and then come back with what you're looking at.
Yes.
But human intelligence, still, that's what they're saying, called the gut feeling, is what human intelligence is. Artificial intelligence still is a computerable.
Sir, so if I come out with the statement, can somebody actually become smarter than your smartphone?
So is anybody smarter than your smartphone? Because you are inputting certain things in your smartphone.
Yes, sir.
Whereas as person who is coming to you, you are not input anything.
Okay.
So it is what is called a known terrain versus an unknown terrain.
Yeah.
So you are actually dealing with somebody with what is called as an unknown terrain.
Yes.
An unknown terrain could be exposed to various things which your smartphone is not exposed to.
Yes, sir.
So they're saying that if you say the smartphone is smart, the person who's smarter is smarter than the smartphone is a fact. Otherwise, the other guy is a fool. So if smartphones becomes your basis, then we have actually lost thinking about thinking. So yeah, the person is always smarter than the smartphone.
Yes, sir. So on the same lines, in fact, World Economic Forum has come out with this Future of Jobs report 2018, and it has listed out 10 essential skills in 2022. And all of the skills are linked to core human intelligence, which includes complex problem solving.
Right.
And it also includes something called system analysis and evaluation, critical thinking. But I'm yet to find a job description for any of the companies which should focus on this. They'll always talk about qualifications, not skills.
So it's like this. I mean, I don't know about this economic forums and all that, how it evolves, but let me give you how it is. The most complex, if one has to study, is to give a job description, is about family. If you can give a job description to your mother, to your father, to your husband, to spouse, to the children, to the grandparents, to the relatives, and then come back and say, hey, listen, this is the job description. Now the question then is, who determines this job description? It is those people who are interested, wants to evolve and say, hey, this is the job which will be the future. I will say the reverse way. Diabetes is not a disease.
Yes.
Right? Now I reverse it and say diabetes is not this thing, and I project that. What happens? A lot of the pharma companies is out of business. Right? So the question is, who is driving the future? So if the people who are advanced in technology are driving the future, and I don't know how many people really understand the mythology, right? If you were to compare the mythology at any point in time, in those days when you have televisions which are coming in with the movies, the guys can see what the other person is doing. The guy can put the screen and talk to the other person. But today we are talking about video call, video chat, all of this, which was there before. The question is, we are only trying to discover what we know or existed before. That's the law of universe.
Yes.
So if you were to ask what is the job description, there cannot be a job description.
Yeah.
And if you say I can assign a job description, then the person who is looking at what is looking from you, then he will define what I want from you.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, it just evolves. You are not. If I give you a job description that 0 to 3 months of your being born, you should have this milk. After 3 to 6 months, you should have FedEx. After 6 months, you should have this. Then, are you giving a job description or a title to it?
Yeah.
Your nature evolved. You stand up, you walk, you smile, you talk. It's evolving. So I can't give a job description to everything. Anything that evolves, automatically there is something which is associated with it. Whether it's you're operating the smartphone, whether you're putting a stand or putting something on a camera or talking to, it's just operates. So the question is, do not assign a job description, but instead assign a task and what is expected of it. Job description comes based on the skills one has got.
In fact, this is the point which led to my question. But why is even Deloitte coming out with job descriptions all that?
So now the question is, okay, now why does it come through, right? There are what are called knowns, there are what are called unknowns, right? Suppose what are the knowns? The knowns are basically what you and I can understand. So you keep on, so typically you got a Excel sheet and you keep on filling up that information.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now I will say, don't do an Excel sheet. All I say is, I have a software which I'll play on your system or I'll do a programming on your total systems and then come up with a report, which will give you much quicker solutions than what you had. So when somebody sells to you, he sells to you something which existed, which you're not aware of it, for which there is a time and money which gets involved. So you save on time, you save on cost, and therefore it gets involved. And that is why you have products which comes up. Unknown and unknown. Today, do you go and sell a Tally?
Not actually.
Not naturally, because everybody knows how to use Tally. Suppose if I say you need to work on a SAP HANA, probably what is that? So therefore, there is an unknown territory which you are not aware of it, which will come back and say, hey, listen, I have the experience, and therefore I'll do it. It's like going and doing a whitewater rafting. Can you just go and jump? Right? Can you just go and swim? Can you just go and address that, the flows, the current flows in the river? You need somebody to guide.
So it's like the manual.
Absolutely. It's somebody who's an expert who comes to you and say, hey, listen, do this, don't do this. And then we are good to go and sail in that.
Sir, in this context, if you're moving into the next 10 years, would qualifications would still be relevant, or can we discuss just about the skills? Because I think in India, more than unemployment, unemployability is a problem.
Correct. You're absolutely right. So unfortunately, I fully agree with you. Unemployability is the greatest challenge. That's only because we are still in the stage of cut and paste.
Yeah.
So what will evolve is not what you've learned in the school. The next 10 years would be what you learn and implement what the job requires you, what this industry requires you. So today, if you see, I don't know how many people understand the technologies, okay? Take a simple example. If I have to find out malaria is going to outbreak,
yes,
right? All I have to do is to send across various places and use equipment which will go and identify the density of mosquitoes' eggs which are laid or larvae which are getting created in a particular area. With that, I'll be able to assess that the next 2 months it is going to get into this, and this will spread into X million, and therefore malaria is going to come, outbreak is going to come. The question then is, technology is the future of. So the technology will take you, and the technology advancements are so fast and so quicker. In fact, today from Wi-Fi it's going to be infras. So you using the light, you're going to find out. Take case of medicine, right? If you were to take the average life of a human, which was about 40 years or 50 years ago, was about 37, 40. Today, the average life is 60 plus. Tomorrow, the average life by 2050 is going to be 150 years.
Okay.
So we are all made up of cells. Why do we go back from young to this? Because we degenerate.
Absolutely.
So once we degenerate, the cells goes down. It doesn't respond. So you allow it to differ.
Okay.
And that's the future. So next 10 year skills are about the skills which, if for example, there was no cameras required, no helicopters required, you can go and get any photos anywhere with the same precision.
Exactly.
And today smartphones have become camera capturing. So where do you hear about Kodak and all of this? So the upskilling is required.
Exactly.
And for upskilling, our education system has to be changed.
Yes, sir.
So once we revise our education system, which matches the requirement of the industry and the future,
yes,
which is going to be today, is all driven technology. Whether it's car, whether it is your medicine, whether it's your education, everything is technology driven. Even, for example, sharing of information is through a technology medium. So,
yes, sir.
So it's the IT is going to be there, but in a different version. But what is also important, along with the IT, is putting the human sense in every relationship. Please do not operate like a machine.
Absolutely.
Have that human
touch,
which will change it.
So talking about entrepreneurship, because when we learn the theoretical part of it, land, labor, capital entrepreneurship.
Correct.
So land is becoming irrelevant right now. The site has come to website in a way.
Correct.
And then labor, machines are replacing the labor part of it.
Correct.
Capital, I believe money is the cheapest resource right now.
Yes.
And then you're talking about entrepreneurship, which has got the locus right now. So for a budding entrepreneur, especially in India, it's still not yet there. Even I face it personally because you have a opportunity cost, and this is not exactly a paved way. Because if you go to Silicon Valley, you have a lot of investors waiting.
Right.
This is not happening. So if somebody who is at the crux of their life or career, where you're just married and probably having a kid, and this is not so easy as we think. In fact, recent Siddharth suicide has raised a lot of questions. I was having coffee days with that. So
let's put this way.
Yeah.
Aspirations are different. Entrepreneurship is different.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship creates value.
Yes.
He comes out of an idea, implements the idea. There's a difference between entrepreneurship and a businessman.
Exactly.
Now, a businessman, his whole objective is to make money. So if you take Siddharth of Cafe, he's only a businessman. He's not an entrepreneur.
Okay.
An entrepreneur is somebody who would really bring about something which never existed. For a great example, could be Flipkart.
Okay.
Or for example, it could be your yo-yo. Or leave all this. Today, to iron your dresses, you don't find people there. You can start an entrepreneurship skills, putting all the 100 people in one place and start doing it.
Yes.
Anything. It's all about putting an idea into implementation. You become an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur thinks beyond an ordinary person.
Absolutely.
So as a businessman, I'll say, okay, fine, you're all selling the same thing. Let me go and buy. I identify a wholesaler. I'll identify a person who is selling, producing. I'll identify a market. I just go and do what is called as source it and sell it for him.
Yes, sir.
Whereas in an entrepreneurship, I have an idea, I have a skill, and I implement, and where the value which I create and the money which I earn is far, far superior.
Yes, sir.
So entrepreneurs is a skill set which is inbuilt in it. And that person always sees an opportunity every time when he sees when there is something which is missing. A simple example which floats, which is in the social media, is a guy whose father was selling a tea and a juice. Suddenly he came up with an idea where he says he will take the fruit, cut the fruit, take an extract, and give the same fruit back to you. He's saying healthy, so he's using that same thing for the animals which are there as their fodder.
Absolutely.
As simple. Entrepreneurship is that.
Yes.
He's not a businessman, he's an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
A businessman is like, okay, I take you out this thing, I host it on a website, I have 100 people, and like a Swiggy.
Yes, sir.
That is called businessman. So an entrepreneur and a businessman are different. So entrepreneurs always thinks beyond an ordinary person. So if you need to be thinking that is hard, work hard.
Yeah.
Unless you invest time, you will never get the benefit. And the benefits are never seen immediately. It could be long drawn. It can always be long drawn. But once you are successful, there is no looking back.
Absolutely.
The shadow will not follow you.
So Deloitte as an organization, how is it helping the startups ecosystem, or does it have some plans for this in incubator programs?
So, typically there are two aspects of it. Now, if you were to look at an incubators, right, the incubator model is completely different than the models that you have. So we have what is called as CEO incubators.
Okay.
So we have with a higher level skills. So therefore, if you are a CEO of a company and you need to sharpen your skills,
okay,
then we have these incubators where we draw all of them and train you on that basis.
So that will be for scaling up.
That's for scaling up. So as far as the industries are concerned, now there are two ways one has to look at it. One is called a government scheme that you run, where you want to encourage in the industry. If you are a professional services firm, it is always say, I have the skill, I'll help you to scale it up.
Yes, sir.
So if you were to look at any of the firms, bigger firms, it's always driven from what expertise you already have, because the expertise are not only in this country, the expertise is drawn across globe.
Absolutely.
And therefore what happens is you have a skill set which is there. And therefore you say, I'll be your incubator for you.
Yes.
And you come up with a skill and I'll run it. So if you were to look at it, the best way, and I mean, compared to in India versus because of the lot of laws and regulations that is surrounded in this country, if you were to see outside of India, they participate, they partner. So for example, you are an IT company, I have an IT skill, we both partner and sell it all over.
Yeah.
Whereas in India it doesn't work.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference because of the laws of country which prohibits you from doing certain things. Otherwise, trust me, you can do anything and everything. I can set up a shop and say incubators and say, listen, but the way we do it is by educating minds. So we keep going, talking to them, helping them. So for example, me, if I were to take, I go to places where they do not have an opportunity even to hear something good. That is the reason why investments goes from there. So it is not about what you get from them, it's about what you give back to them.
Absolutely.
And that's how you determine, helping these budding entrepreneurs. For example, I can always say I'm very busy. What do you want to aspire? How do you want to aspire? What efforts you need to go? And that's what makes you an entrepreneur.
And I'm asking you a real question, sir. So we are talking about him as human intelligence mastery. So I want to focus on natural intelligence. As the world is going towards artificial intelligence, I want to take a step back and focus on natural intelligence, because once that is fundamentally sorted, intelligence manifests into anything. You could play good cricket, or you can become a partner in Deloitte, or you can use it for anything.
Right.
So I wanted to super skill people into this. So what's your recommendation and how should I take it forward?
Okay, so if you were to look at, take him talks itself, right? The him itself. Now you are trying to look at intelligence which are natural.
Yes.
Then you should have the capability of identifying somebody who has intelligence, who still has skills which are not up to the mark. So your ability to identify such people becomes essential.
Okay.
That's number one which you do. Number two, such people may not be interested. So you need to have the persuasion capability.
Yes, sir.
The patience and the persuasion is what is required. The third, what is that you want to achieve with that? I can always give us, a universal statement. I say, I want to take the human intelligence and bring that.
Exactly.
What is that I want to do with that?
Yes.
Do I want to make them as a good citizens? Do I want to make them something which is very good for the society? Or do I want to make them and bring on to my business and therefore I become successful? What is that I want to bring for? So the best example could be is, you could say, okay, listen, we have got a lot of these fertilizers grown crops. Why not I do and encourage, take the farmers who are bleeding, then take them and give them support and say, listen, we will go get into organic because I have got the capital and I will do it. Can I breed that? Or I'll say, hey, listen, I have this concept of middlemen. I want to remove all these middlemen. I want to say, hey, listen, I will create a platform for you and bring you back.
Yes.
So I'm looking at it. What is that I want to do? So before even put the question, I want to change, ask what is that you want to change? And what is that skill that you have to make sure the other person will listen to you and change? You can do one thing very clearly. You can become a Baba and say Ramdev Baba, and I can set up everything. And I can do a yoga, change your minds, get you all your exercise, get a hot yoga, and get everything done. But if I want to do, that is called actually changing the minds. But is that what I want to do? What is my end object? So your him should focus on what is I agree this is my human intelligence I'm changing, which is my natural intelligence. But what is that I want to bring? So the best way for you to focus on is go to all these NGOs, in fact, which I work with them. All have got skills, but they don't have the ability.
Yes, sir.
Can I go back and upbring them onto the mainstream of people? If you've done that, that is what is mastery about it. Not what you take somebody and utilize for your business. Maybe I'm off this thing, but I believe
exactly, sir.
It's about not about creating an opportunity for yourself. It's creating an opportunity for those people who are deprived and then bring them into the mainstream. And if you can do that,
In fact, that is what I started 10 years ago, like started with NGOs. But then I just realized that you need to bring out a revenue model out of it. Otherwise, I have a scalability problem.
I agree with you. That's why I said. So if you're an entrepreneur, bring a scalability. Using their skills, bring a scalability.
Okay.
You've created them into the mainstream. You are supporting them financially. You're doing it. Bring
Yes,
that.
Yes, sir.
That is something you can do. So if you have got all these people, especially I do it during this Diwali where all the people who have actually stitched bags or stitched certain things or bring some candles or whatever it is, lights or other, bring them and get them sold.
Yes, sir.
So if you can bring that aside and put a portfolio, so then do one thing. Create a platform where you have all these NGOs what they want to sell, you create that platform and use that platform to sell at a price. Tie it up with Amazon, tie it up with somebody else and say this is a product. Or tie it up with those people with Swiggy itself, apart from this, we'll sell this. You can have something great. There is immense opportunity if you want to go out. There is this cost, which I fully agree with. But the fact of the matter is, what is that you want to drive with this? Is it revision? Is it a revenue model which will drive, or is it the passion to bring up somebody which will drive? So you have to balance between these two.
Yes, sir. So, and final question regarding entrepreneurship. If I have to look at a bottle of Coke, I'll have to pay, say, 40 rupees for 600 ml. And the cost of it is less than 10 rupees. And the value of it is negative, actually. It's not adding up to our health in any way.
Right.
In fact, it's negative. Now, if you look at something called coconut, which takes 0 to 5 years to get to a particular shape. And then if somebody is selling it for 30, we'll ask for 25. And then if it's selling for 20, we'll ask for 15. So what's going on? Because you're talking about the most healthiest drink on the planet, and it has something very valuable for your liver and kidneys and everywhere. On the second hand, we know this. Everybody knows this. And I'm yet to find a person who bargains for buying a Coke for 38 or 39.
So let me put this way. All right. Why only coconut? You go to Sultan Bazaar.
Yes, sir.
You go to Koti. The guy is on the vendor on the street. What do? You negotiate.
Exactly.
Because you believe that guy is selling at a higher price.
Yeah.
The same person walks into any of the malls here. Right? What do? He raises the price by 200% and say 50% discount. Whole rush is there. Then you in orbit mall, you're all like crazy holding back. First thing which we have to change is bring the concept of trust. So really what happens is that there is a trust deficit in the whole concept.
Absolutely.
Because it's not that you go, the moment you walk into a mall, the trust actually goes up.
Yes, sir.
But you believe that what you pay is what the quality you get. When you talk to a street vendor or
Exactly.
this thing, you believe what you pay, you will not get that value. It's like a China product. Right? So the question then is that if you have to get that, then create that environment for those people to say that, listen, I will sell at the same place. If there is Golgappa which is there. There's a Chaat Bhandar which is the same Koti. He will sell at a premium. Gokul Chaat Bhandar sells at a premium.
Absolutely.
So the question is, you create value there. The day you create value, you will have Ramji ki bandi, Gokul ki bandi, Sham ki bandi, Sab ki bandi. The same street. The same Sham ki bandi, you will go and get a very beautiful for 100 rupees today. I don't know. 100 rupees, you give a cheese dosa.
Yes, yes.
Same thing, you go into any of this Udupi hotel, it's only 25 rupees. Now, why do you pay 100 rupees to that street fellow?
He built a brand in a way.
No, he built the value. So the Coke built a brand. The Coke invests more money on the brand, not on the preparation, but on the brand.
Yeah.
And absolutely, today, it's up to you. You want to drink, you drink. You don't want to drink. Coconut water is good. But the ability to source that coconut water every point in time is not there.
Exactly.
Whereas Coke, give a call, you get it. Pet bottles, big bottles, small bottles, everywhere you're there. So it's about how you brand your product, how you manage to sell the product, and how value you think you're creating in the minds of the people who don't know. So the best way to start is with the kids. Bachpan se, if you start putting them into that, you have Coke, no milk, Coke, no milk, Coke. Then the kids, as they grow in the morning, I want only Coke, not milk. दूध नहीं चाहिए मुझे खाली Coke ही चाहिए. It's all like you also, right? You take chocolates. End of the. So it is everywhere. It's just that how we focus on quality is what matters most. So focus on quality, Trust almost comes. The moment the trust comes, you have prices, no barriers. So even a bandi guy, a mirchi bandi guy will make more money than a guy who is running an ODP restaurant.
Yes.
That's how it should be. Take pride in what you do, but give quality. Yeah.
So finally, we have this IPCC results coming out on Feb 3rd, and we also have this campus placement schedule. So February
Is a month.
Yeah, 40 to 50% of the CA community is looking towards Deloitte and the rest of the big four. So for them, what exactly is the internal story? How you hire somebody? What are the essential traits? And the rejection rate is 90%, I guess, in general. So what's your say to those people?
No, I would not put this whether it's a big four or non-big four.
Yeah.
The question is, I also did my articleship in a small firm, right? Where I gave importance only to learning. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, today's kids give focus on passing examinations. That's number one. Two, we never had this academies before. It is always used to be the books which are written by people who are with known authors. Whereas if you see today, there are various institutions which comes back and say A for apple, B for bag, C for cat, D for dog. So he said, agar exam mein aaya, A for apple, A for, so you keep on rhyming that. So you have to learn like a kid. So यहाँ पे आ गया बोला कि apple का definition क्या है? You say A, B, C, D, E. There is a gap between the skills that you acquire when you're supposed to have this 2.5 years of articleship to learn job. It's on the job learning.
Yes.
If you're good on the job, you generally feel that you will not pass the exam because you say you don't have time to learn the exam.
Yes.
But I'm saying I'm all learned on the job and I passed as a first time. The question then is, did I acquire skills to be prepared for an industry, or did I acquire a degree for the sake that I'm a professional graduate? That why the gap is coming through is rejection is coming only because the maximum number concentrate of passing CA thinking that they will learn later point in time. Whereas in an industry, when they look at it, whether it's a big firm or a small firm, any firm, they say, do you have the capabilities? It's like this. Some patient is in the hospital and you say doctor ने बोला ये से doctor MBBS degree है तो चाकू को दिया अभी he doesn't know which to cut. हाथ को कट करेगा हार्ट को कट करेगा दोनों और हाथ उसका समझने का हाथ और हार्ट एक ही है. So the question is there is a gap between the skill, what he possesses, and what degree he carries, and that's the reason why the rejections are much higher.
Yes.
So what your message should be to all these people is, it's not about throwing your hats when you get a degree, right? You have to throw your knowledge and say, hey, listen, I'm the person who possesses the skill. You come to me. I don't come to you. You come to me, and you will be more successful.
Yes.